Welcome to another episode of Willing to Talk About It. I am your host, D. Harmon. And in this episode, I had the pleasure, and I mean it was a pleasure, to converse with Shonda Barnes, the Regional Vice President of HD Network. Now, Shonda is a licensed insurance broker, okay? So she knows what she's talking about. And we talked about the importance of life insurance and financial education. Shonda shares her background and her experience in helping people create financial GPSs, as she calls them. And she unpacks what that looks like. She also talks about how to protect your income. She discusses her upbringing and the motivation to educate others about generational wealth. We hear that so much. Today, she breaks that down. Shonda emphasizes the need to have life insurance as income protection and highlights the reasons why people often neglect it. She also explains the different types of life insurance policies that are out there, including accidental death, group life insurance, and military life insurance, just to name a few. Believe me, you do not want to miss this. Watch it in this full version. In this conversation, we discussed the need to get a policy audit. Yes, get your policy audited if you currently have life insurance. She emphasizes the need for life insurance to protect families and highlights the impact of corporate greed on insurance benefits, especially in the Black community. Shonda explains how to determine the right amount of life insurance based on personal circumstances and the importance of considering changes such as marriage, home ownership, just to name a few. She warns against some common mistakes in getting life insurance and cautious against the pitfalls of whole life insurance. Shonda concludes by discussing the importance of building a financial house. And she illustrates what that looks like, teaching the next generation about financial planning and life insurance. Shonda believes, and I totally agree with her, that in most cases, people don't have money to grieve properly, leading to other health and financial issues after losing a loved one. Now, I'll tell you, like my mom told me, 3 things you will ultimately have to do, and most of which you do continuously. One of them is stay Black. And after 50 years, I see I've done that. Pay your taxes. I've done that. Not always on time, but I've done that. And die. Yes. We are all going to the upper room. I'm going to tell you, this woman poured her heart out with passion, care, and love. Shonda really gave up her whole self today. I mean, I thought about this conversation with her all day. I thought about it all day. So I encourage you to watch, listen, take notes if you have to. More importantly, contact her. This ain't about sales. This is not about sales. This is about dying the right way, leaving something for your loved ones. I mean, because playtime is over. So many times we hear, I'm holding it down for my family and I just want to do this and do it. Well, hey, listen. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And even if you don't see this, even if you don't, you just say, you know what, Daryl, I'm turning this off right now. That's fine. But you've already lived long enough to know what the right thing to do is. So I encourage you. Listen to this lady, Shonda Barnes, and make sure you contact her. She gives multiple ways of being able to reach her. And I'm sure she will find something that you can fit into. Now, there are some things, health and this and that. She's a licensed life insurance broker, among other things. We just had time to unpack that one thing. There's so many other things surrounding that whole piece. We just had enough time to unpack this one thing. I'm going to get out the way. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so you can get updates on when new shows come out. We will continue, I promise you that, to bring you great special guests like Shonda Barnes. Let's go.
Yeah.
How you doing today, Shonda?
I'm doing absolutely amazing, Daryl. How are you?
Absolutely amazing. I'm better now. It took some time to get you here with your schedule, but nonetheless, I appreciate you for coming on, being willing to share. Now, a few things that Shonda does, a few things you do, you help people create financial GPSs.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk a little bit about that. Income protection, retirement funds.
Yes.
Investment 101, wills, trusts, ID theft, college savings, all of what we need.
Absolutely.
And most importantly, the wheel to all of that to get moving, and the end of it is the life insurance piece. All right. But before we go into all that, Shonda, tell us a little bit about who you are. Where are you from?
I'm originally born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I currently reside in Virginia. Been here for going on like about 20 years or so.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where I'm born and raised. That's where I'm from.
What was it like? What was it like growing up in Bridgeport for the time that you were there?
Well, it definitely shows I ain't there no more, but
right.
But when I was there, it was a struggle, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Back then, I was in between Stratford and Bridgeport with my upbringing, and my mom is an amazing mom. She was, my rock, and she got us through some really tough times, and it was really humble beginnings for us. It was really humble beginnings, and but we were always outside. We was always playing. I was always in something. I attended Bullet Havens Technical High School for my high school years. I took up auto mechanics as a fun fact about me. So certified auto mechanic. And but it was just a lifestyle that I knew at that time as I grew older that I wanted to do differently. The way we look at money, the way we're not educated on it, the fact that nobody was talking about generational wealth, and being on food stamps was a badge of honor, and I didn't want that life, So, but for me, I knew that my childhood it was good the way that my mom had it. It was rough patches, but I knew I wanted, as I got older and I had my children, I knew I wanted to do something different. And the only way I knew how to do that was through education first, so I can apply it to myself and then become a business owner. So it was rough, but I definitely enjoy everything that I my childhood was, and I went through.
Okay. Now you mentioned your mom took care of you all. Now, so do you have some brothers and sisters?
Oh yes, it's I have three siblings. I have three
Okay.
siblings. They're all younger. I'm the oldest,
You're the
and
oldest.
so
Okay.
I am the young. I'm the oldest. I have two. I have a brother still in Connecticut. My sister's in Georgia, and then my other brother resides in South Carolina, but he's like all over, driving all over the place. But
Hmm. Now you mentioned mom. Did you grow up in a single family home?
for most of my younger years, up until I was about 14, yes. Then she got remarried to my stepdad, which is
Mhm.
he's my dad, and God rest his soul, he passed away in 2017. That's really got me why I'm really in this field, why I took it a little bit more seriously, and but she's been my rock. She's a pastor, and so I'm a PK, and
Hmm.
she, if it wasn't for her getting me aligned with God or introducing my walk with him, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So definitely amazing
That's
woman.
that's great. Big shout out to mom, and not just
Mhm.
your mom, but all the moms.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talking right now. I love where this is going right now, Ms. Barnes. I love where this is going, Shonda. And you mentioned Buller Havens Tech. I went to Buller Havens as a post grad.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
as a post
What
grad,
trade did you take?
carpentry, 92.
Carpentry. Okay.
And
Okay.
I've been doing it ever since.
Really? Okay.
I
I,
have.
I can't
So
really say I've been doing mine ever since, but I
yeah,
haven't messed around with cars in a minute. But I know my stuff.
yeah. So that's great. So mom got you all over many, many humps and trials and
Mhm.
tribulations, and she was focused there. She had some foundation with Christ,
Right.
and she
Right.
introduced you to that. And later on, you probably did what you did, mom, yeah, whatever. But you
Mhm.
had that foundation that's so important now.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So fast forward just a little bit. You graduate Buller Havens, and then you further your education.
Yes, I attended Central Connecticut State University in New Britain, and my major was business management for a little bit, and I minored in dance.
Okay.
And but yep, that's what I did for a little bit, and then I end up getting meeting my kid's dad, which he's still one of my close friends. But meeting him, we got married, had a child, and we moved up into Virginia, and we've been here ever since. And recently went through a divorce back in probably like 2019, 2018.
Mhm.
And then I remarried.
Okay. Now the funny thing is, you said your child's dad. You didn't say baby father.
Oh no, because he's not. We
No,
have almost
that's important.
together.
But that's important.
Yeah, we have
And I
almost.
heard you say your child's
Hmm.
dad and best friend, even though it
Hmm.
didn't work out, you all found a way to keep it. Hey, listen, this is about this.
Man,
Way more important.
that's a whole nother podcast. Me and him talked
I
about it plenty of times where we wanted to. Me and you probably got to get back together on that. But him and
definitely
we were married for 18 years
right.
and got a divorce. But we made a promise that we was always going to keep this a tight knit unit. And
Right.
our kids, we never wanted them to look at love was something was wrong with love, something was wrong with marriage.
Right.
We just got together at a young age,
Right.
and grew up with each other and just grew up in separate different directions, but didn't mean that we still don't have love for each other. So um, that's my dude. That's my dude. But I'll have utmost respect for him, vice versa.
You're right. We do got to come back for it because it's just I picked up on it. Like, because I don't really like to hear baby daddy. It comes with this
I think
negative
it's a whole.
connotation, and I
Yes,
don't.
it does.
Yeah,
It's very disrespectful. For me, I think that's a very disrespectful term. Unless that person, even if that's so, it's just that's your dad, that's your kid's dad. Unless he's
yeah.
not acting as that role, or vice versa for the mom.
I'm about to
If they're
say I
not
want to
acting,
be fair and say that as
yeah,
well.
even
Yeah,
after
yeah.
for the mom. So I think it's a title that's earned,
Hmm.
absolutely. But I just think people just use it freely and don't give that much respect, and that's why the kids grow up and they don't respect it either.
Mm. So you also mentioned that your stepdad
Hmm.
stepped in, 14. They got married, and you lost him, and that's when you kind of were you already in the lane of life insurance and financial world?
I had got started. I was in the banking industry for a while, and I knew I was looking for something different, Daryl, and God kind of like dropped this on my lap on New Year's Day.
Mm,
Because I've been praying. I'm like, God, I want generational wealth. I want to retire at 45. I didn't sign up for the 40 club, you know?
right, right.
So that's not what I'm here for. And I want to be the ones that leave a generational wealth to my child, an inheritance, not just we build a foundation. And when we die, the foundation crumbles and now we leave it up to them to rebuild, but we're never having them build on top of something we built strong enough for them to carry on, you know?
Mm,
So when my dad passed away, and I call him my dad,
mhm.
when he passed away in 2017, he was a pastor. I actually sat down with him and my mom, and I sat down. I showed him the same thing, similar things that I'm going to show today. And he looked me in my face, Daryl, and I promise you, he was just like, you know, yeah, I got life insurance. Your mom's gonna be straight, blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay. Me being the oldest, I wish I would have acted more on it to say, let's confirm that, you know, and I didn't, you know, I just was one that I just respected my elders, and, you know, I didn't ask the questions, but I should have. And because that responsibility fell on me. And when he passed away, it was one of the most embarrassing things I ever felt in my life, Daryl. Okay. And the crazy thing is his name is Daryl.
Wow. Okay.
So, but it was so embarrassing because now you're this pastor's child. My mom's a PK. She was full-time ministry at the time. And her life just changes for the worse. You know, they had a really nice life, you know, cars gone, homes gone, you know. And at that moment, I wasn't in the best financial position to take care of my mother. Now, much better position for myself, but I was not then. And it was very embarrassing. And then after that, few months after that, I lost one of my closest friends, which was my first cousin, and she died with no life insurance. Three kids
Wow.
left behind. The
Mm.
lifestyle for them got drastically different as well. And so I really took it serious on that. It's time to educate people on why it's so important to have their income protected, and just get the education out there as much as we can.
And that's great. That's great. You know, a lot of times things don't shake us in such a way until it hits really, really, really close to home. I talk about that a lot. You know, I lost friends at an early age. I mean, you know, actually, I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut as well.
Hmm.
But it was different when my dad died.
Hmm.
And it was different, you know, in making sure, and I was a little bit more mature in the areas that you're talking about now. But again, I didn't have everything covered. I'm gonna tell you
Right.
real quick, not to get you off track. But my dad used to give me his policies. We didn't grow up in the same home, and I got a relationship with him later in life.
Okay.
And he would call me and give me these policies, and he wanted me to have them. When he died, though, I found out the policies were accidental
Mm.
life insurance. I mean, he probably had
Oh,
hundreds of thousands worth of light accidental, but none of them were able to be
they're gonna
used.
pay out.
They didn't pay out. Now he didn't know it, and we're
Right.
going to get into that. We're going to get into that. So,
Hmm.
explain what life insurance is, Shonda. Explain just what it is for those people that have misconceptions or didn't know or don't know. Explain what it is.
Well, a lot of people, let me back up a little bit for you, because a lot of people, Daryl, they frown upon life insurance. Way back in the day, they used to call it death insurance. And that's why a lot of people stayed away from it. But our older generation, like your dad, they believed in that. Maybe they weren't as educated as they should have been in it to properly protect their income, but they believed in it. And it could have been just a little bit of money, but they had it. Um, so with me, the life insurance, not even just with me, this is our company in general, we believe life insurance is income protection. It's supposed to protect you. It was never designed to protect you for your whole life. It's designed so while you're building your investments, your retirement, you know, you are protecting your income that your family is depending on in the event that there's an untimely death. So you are protecting the income. If we could protect everything else in our lives, our cars, our houses, our phones, you know, we put insurance on every other thing, regardless if it's an obligation that we're obligated to do so or not. Why are we protecting the one thing that takes care of our family?
This is true. This is true. What have you seen? Because you're right about what you said about my dad. Because I did an interview with Chris G of Lester G Funeral Home,
Hmm.
and I was telling him that, you know, my grandparents had their plots paid for years and years ago.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was 96 when she passed away, you know, and but that was already paid for. The plot was paid for years and years ago. And, you know, again, we can go into a whole nother relationship thing where people don't even stay together long enough to trust each other to buy plots and all this other stuff. But you're right with that. And what do you think are some of the reasons why people don't take this thing seriously? I mean, after everything, I mean, people are dying. You see them dying. COVID was a big, unexpected, timely death for a lot of people. You see the GoFundMe's, and you see advertisements about life insurance. You see you out here. Why do you think people are not taking this thing serious?
Um, people think that it's not going to happen to them until it's too late. Um, it's not a right now thing. They can't put their hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not, they don't understand it. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people don't trust insurance companies. You know, they don't trust them, you know, that it's going to get paid out. And, but there's four reasons why that, well, really five, why people really don't have life insurance. And they usually fall in one of those categories, regardless of their mindset is there or not. But one of the reasons that people don't have life insurance is they either didn't get around to it, they heard about it, you know, they wanted to, they didn't get around to it, they didn't see a need for it, they got their job insurance, so they feel like their job is going to take care of their family. Okay, that's a whole nother story. I'm going to touch on that today. And they thought it was going to be too expensive, you know. They didn't, you know, they didn't know how it worked, or they didn't care about their family. It's one of the five. It's one of the five. I don't care what nobody say. I'm gonna give you these five reasons on why you didn't get your insurance outside of your job, or why you don't have it, and they're gonna give me one. I'm gonna give them those five reasons, and they have to choose one because it's one of the five. There's no other reason, unless you are so yourself insured. You're so well off, you're self insured that you don't need it. You know, and even those people that are wealthy, they still believe in life insurance.
You're absolutely right, and I'm be honest with you. That funeral home director, Lester G, he sat right there in that camera and he said, it's not your family's responsibility to take care of your arrangements.
It's not.
Leave them something.
Mm-hmm.
Leave them something. It's not fair. It's not right. And we
That's,
talk a lot about generational wealth. We
mm-hmm.
see people doing all these things. You go on TikTok and all these other places
Mm-hmm.
talking all this stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
you're bringing it right where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just get some life insurance at least.
Do something. Do something. As much money we spend out there, we spend out so much money on so many different things. Go to Starbucks every morning, buy a
Uh-huh.
pack of cigarettes all the time. And if we add all of that up and we think about all the money we wasted, and I say, you know, I always ask this question, Daryl. I said, are you closer to dying or retiring? Right now, where you are, think about your life. I'm sitting in front of that person. I say, are you closer to retiring or are you closer to dying? It's a tough question to answer, but the real question, the answer is that you're closer to dying. You can die right now. You can't
Correct.
retire right now,
Right.
not the way you want, right? So if you know that you're closer to dying, why wouldn't you put the insurance in place so that your family doesn't have to feel that financial burden? Because they're gonna be hurting twice, not just because they lost you, they're emotionally distraught, right? But now the money goes with you, especially if you're a breadwinner, you know. So it's
Now,
just giving people a better understanding, painting a picture.
now, Shonda, I'm 50. Okay,
Hmm.
I have life insurance. I wouldn't come on here if I did. I'd be
Right.
like, nah, Sean, I can't talk to you right now. I don't even have it. Right. So I have it. And I will say it's a better feeling as a dad, single
Mm.
dad. And I just look at the way these kids are and the way the family is now. And I wouldn't leave it up to anybody to take care of my kid
Hmm.
just off of what they have. I wouldn't trust it.
Right.
So and I definitely wouldn't trust him to have the money by himself, right? And
Absolutely.
we're gonna talk a lot about that, right? But
Absolutely.
what about age and health? Because there's a lot of my people that I know around my age, 50, maybe a little
Mhm.
younger, maybe a little older, but they're
Right.
around that age. Does age and health affect life insurance premiums?
Big time. Big time. Huge. Um, We always encourage people to get it as young as you can. Most young people aren't thinking about life insurance because they think they're going to live forever and they're healthy right now. I was just speaking to a young lady the other day. I had her sister and her sister and her brother-in-law. They had to reinstate their policies, but she called me back. Like, she was like, Shonda, I'm so sorry. We got in an accident, blah, blah, blah. But I need to get these policies back in place. And I said, I got you, girl. Immediately when we hung up, she called me right back. My sister needs insurance like right now. And I said, okay, let me ask you a few questions about your sister. And I asked her, I said, well, what's going on with her? And I said, she was like, and when people give me that right away urgency about life insurance, in my mind, it's sending red flags to me,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, okay, either something they just got a scare or something, somebody passed away in their family, or, because they don't usually move that way in that fast of it. So I knew something was up. So come to find out, this 23-year-old young lady, healthy as an ox, was on a plane and had a seizure. Never had a seizure a day in her life. Not on any medication or nothing. She doesn't even know what brought it on. She has a follow-up appointment on Monday. Okay. The girl, my client, she said, Shonda, you need to talk to her today. She needs this insurance today. Because I remember you telling me that if it's on your medical record, that can affect her life insurance and we don't know what's wrong. And I said, you are absolutely right. She needs to do it today. So let me ask her some questions. We got into it. She didn't have any children, but she said, Miss Shonda, I don't want to leave my family in no type of debt. Because let me tell you something. Whenever you pass away, there is a bill. Somebody has to take care of a bill,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she was like, I don't want to do that. So we put life insurance on her and she got approved right on the spot. I do real-time underwriting. So real-time underwriting is like that. We don't have to wait unless there's something crazy going on in their medical record. But if they're pretty much, we can check it right then and they would approve them right on the spot. Like, you got it. And so she got approved for $300,000 of coverage for her to only be 24 years old with no children. But she just wanted to make sure her nieces and nephew was good, her sister, her mom, that they didn't have to worry about that. And I'm thankful that I got it to sit down with her because we don't know what that doctor's going to tell her on Monday. And if something's seriously going on, guess what? They could have told her that now she couldn't get it, depending on how serious it was. She's 24 years old, 23 years old. So
Wow.
we don't know what we can be impacted with as time goes on, what we're diagnosed with. And it's better to get it as early as you can so you can get more insurance, less money. So the better your health, the younger you are, it's always better. And making sure you're non-tobacco or nicotine user.
Right, right,
That
right.
plays a major rate change too.
Well, I will say this. The funny thing is, I stopped smoking cigars altogether, but I did, and yeah, I did. I stopped, and I didn't smoke them that often, but I
Mm-hmm,
did smoke them.
mm-hmm,
And my insurance agent said, "Hey, you're allowed to smoke 12 a year." Now that was for that particular. I don't
mm-hmm,
know if
mm-hmm.
that's an industry thing, so whoever did. And I said, you know what? Let me not, because I don't want you guys trying to do an autopsy on me and not pay this thing out. So I
It's
just
not
cut it
worth
up.
it.
No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because, like I said, but at what age do you think? I know you said this 23-year, 24-year-old, but those families that say, you know what, I'm not getting no insurance on my kids. What do you say to them?
I say,
That
well,
2-year-old, that 5-year-old, that 10-year-old.
I say, do you agree that death has no respect of age? And they'll
True.
say yes. I say, you ever heard of kids? What about those school shootings? You think parents ever thought that they would send their child to school and just to wake up or come back home from work to get a phone call that their kid wasn't coming back? I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that's also hurting our kids.
Mhm.
Car accidents, things of that nature, you never know. It's always a put. Now you may not have to get rich and have something off of them because they don't pay bills, but you need to have something so you don't have um, a burden on you. You're hurting already. Can you imagine losing a burying a child? Nobody should have to do that. But that hurt is different. But now you don't have no money to bury your child either. That hurt is different.
Or you may have
So
the money, but it wasn't set aside for them to pay ten to fifteen thousand
yeah.
dollars for a funeral.
But even think about this though. When you really lose a child, you really want to go back to work. But if
Yeah,
you
no.
do have a higher policy, not thinking about that, you give yourself time to grieve. See, most people don't grieve properly. So they just mask the grieving stage by, I'm going to throw myself into work. No, you just don't have the money. to grieve. You don't have the money to grieve.
Wow, that's powerful, Shonda. I really tell you, man, that's some powerful stuff right there. You don't have the money to grieve.
Isn't that something? Now that you said it again, it hit me even harder. Like, you
Yeah,
don't have
that's
the money to grieve. Think about that.
you unpack that because in my mind right here, and I'm gonna be honest, I was one of those parents. I was one of those parents that said, I'm not putting no insurance on my kids, $10,000, $20,000, because I got more than that. And if I put $200,000, $300,000 on them, it'd probably be $25 a month or something
Mhm.
like that. And God forbid something happened to them. I'm sitting over here with all this money. How would I feel? But at the same time, you're right. You're right. Like I don't even have the money to grieve my child and be able to just be here. And then you start possibly getting ill and losing stuff, like you said, houses and cars. And it's wow, that's a big thing
And
you
you could
just
save a
dropped.
marriage. You know how many marriages are destroyed because they lost a child because the other one of them can't move on. Why? Because you probably, not saying it's only money that can help, but that money can free you where you don't have to go to work. It probably can pay for somebody to help you cope through it. You know, you could
Mm-hmm.
probably take some trips and get yourself away from this familiar area where your kid was so you're not constantly see it, you know, all the time. You could go away. You could probably, it's a lot of things that money gives you options. It may not be everything, but it gives you options. You know,
It
it
does.
allows you to
It
do a
does.
little bit of different things with your life so that you don't. But you know, but you putting on that strain on you, your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
They're going crazy because they can't get you out and you ain't got no money. They got to keep going to work, and if they don't, the house gonna be gone. It's a lot of stuff people don't think about.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I know a family that happened to,
Hmm.
and I remember the brother calling me some months later, like frustrated. I mean, he was everything you just said.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, you can't do that right now at this moment.
Hmm.
And he felt things getting rough, slipping, and he did. Wow, this is heavy. He didn't. I didn't ever pick it up, but he didn't have the money to grieve. And to be honest with you, he was being downright insensitive to his wife grieving.
Hmm.
But in his mind, he's like, well, we lost one. We don't want to lose everything. He still had kids.
Hmm.
Wow, you
It
dropped
doesn't mean
that.
that he's thinking wrong, but imagine if they had the money where they could have said, "All right, babe, let's take a month off.
Right.
Let's go away. Let's just take everybody. Let's go away for a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, so that
Mm-hmm.
they can rebuild their bond together because they're gonna need each other." We don't have that time, especially in our neighborhood. All we know is to hustle.
Yeah.
All we know is to hide behind the grind, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we think going to see a therapist is that's a whole nother one, you know, to, oh, I got God. No, God put people in our places with expertise that can help you in certain areas. And we don't, some people don't believe in that. I'm like, man, you don't go and go find you somebody that you can, that's not gonna judge you. They don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
job, to let you air out all that stuff. Get that mess off your chest before you make yourself sick and kill yourself early. Now you causing another bill for somebody else. Come on now.
Get it out. Get it out. Get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's some good stuff. Now, okay, I got the life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I passed the test.
Mm-hmm.
What type of life insurance would you, I mean, depending on the scenario, what types of life insurance are out there? Because like I said, my dad, I'm living it. He had accidental death, and that didn't do nothing for me. Believe me when I tell you, his priority, he probably didn't have that language of generational wealth. I'm sure he didn't think that, but he
Mm-hmm.
did think, let me leave something for my son.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his intention. Didn't happen. So what types of insurance are out there and what should we be looking at?
Okay, so that's a great question, honestly. So there is accidental death for one, and that's only paid out due to an accident. A lot of credit unions give that out. You pay little to no money for it. They send you little things in the mail. Um, get it for like $3 a month, and people jump on that, right? Um, and a lot of people don't understand with accidental death. The companies are finding ways to not pay out the accidental death. Like you could be literally in a accident, but you had a heart attack that caused that accident. They're gonna say, nah, they didn't die because of the accident. They died because of the heart attack.
Mm.
Okay. they're going to find reasons of why they're not going to pay out that money on an accident or death. So an accident or death policy is hardly paid out. Okay, the percentage of that is very, very low. Another type of policy that is out there is you got group life insurance. Okay, group life insurance is given by the company that you're working for, your employer. I don't care if it's the state, the government, the city, the military, just your employer. It's group life insurance. What that means is that the company, the person that you work for, owns that policy, not you. So a lot of people get messed up, Daryl, and they say, oh, but I paid extra. That's fine. That just means you just paid for extra insurance. That doesn't mean you paid for you to be the owner of the policy. The company is the owner of the policy. If anybody ever pays attention, which they don't, the company gives them a group certificate. On the group certificate, that says policy holder is the company's name. Policy insured is the employee's name. So what that means is that the policy owner, which is the company, owns your policy. They can make changes without your consent. They can switch companies without your consent. There's a lot of things that people don't know. Let me let you know on another thing, what group life insurance policies do. They only pay out, majority of them, if you die while you're actively working. Police officers, teachers, all of them, okay? Military, okay? Military don't just take care of your whole family all the time. They take care of your burial, stuff like that, right? So, but there's some clauses in that says if you were out there just doing drugs while you in the military, they don't got to pay your family a dime if you die, And then when you're working, right? When I say actively working, Daryl, see, this trips a lot of people out when I tell them this. But say you literally saw somebody die while they were working at the job. You saw them take their last breath. Is there anybody at the job that can declare somebody dead? They are licensed to clear somebody dead.
No.
They usually call the coroner. They call the ambulance, the hospital, right? And then they come, and what do? Remove the body off the premises, right? So on the way to the hospital or at the hospital, then they declare this person dead. When they declare that person dead, was he at work?
This is too much. This is what we need. You're feeding us right now. You really are feeding us. And
a lot of people know that.
Yeah, and I'm hungry. So keep on putting it on the plate for us, Shonda.
I got you. So that's that part. So it's important. I tell people, if your job is barely covering you now and taking care of your family, what makes you think that they're gonna have you die and they're gonna keep taking care of your family? That's not how this works. This doesn't work that way. Okay. This also means when I say actively working, I mean just that, Daryl. You're on vacation, your policy is paused. It's over the weekend, your policy is paused. You are in a hospital because you're sick or you're injured, your policy is paused. You're sick at home, your policy is paused. You are not working, okay? Your job is not paying for you to go on vacation, the zip line, and then the rope pop, and they're gonna pay for you. That's not what they're doing. They're covering their behinds while you at working for them, period.
There's a lot going on, I have gotten some feedback about that, pushback. People say, hey, I got insurance through my job. Mm-hmm. Now, only thing I said, well, the way I looked at it, Shonda, is okay, you got a 20 or 30-year policy and you retire or you get laid off or whatever happens to you at that job, that relationship is severed. Now at 55, you have to go get life insurance on your own. That premium is going to be way up there if you're even able to be covered, to be depending on what ailments you might have. So that was my only thing that I said. But you bringing this thing right where it need to be, because you pretty much, it don't sound like you have any coverage. You
don't. You really don't, because it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the company. They let you go, you quit, you get fired. You don't have that insurance no more.
Yeah.
You need to protect your income at all costs. Why would you put the livelihood of your family in the hands of a company that don't care nothing about you? They will replace you quickly. So
Yeah.
that's another one. So that's group life insurance. For all of my military folks that's listening, that's like, oh, I'm in the military because y'all just think y'all just totally covered, right? Not, okay?
Mm.
When you're in the military, you have something called SGLI, okay? The SGLI insurance, they usually give you, and I think they increased it, and don't quote me on that, but usually they give about $400,000 of coverage. In most cases, it's only the active military personnel that is actually covered, not their family. And if they do have something on their spouse, it's not as much. Okay. Once they retire, they can opt into the VGLI, which is the Veterans Group Life Insurance. Once again, I told y'all about group life insurance, right? Group life insurance. So once again, you're not the owner, they are, okay? But your premiums go up every 5 years. This is public knowledge. You can look it up on Google or wherever else you want to look up for those who want to verify my information and look up the VGLI price insurance rates. It will show you by your age the amount of coverage that you have and how it goes up every 5 years. By the time they get to the point where they're like 65 or 60 years old, because the payments come out automatically, the veteran doesn't even realize that it's going up. But when they get older and they notice that that premium is like $200, $300 now, they like, hold up, why is my stuff this much? Why is this coming out automatic? And by the time they go to question it, right, they want to cancel that and get more insurance. One of two things happen. One, they cannot get the insurance for another company because it's super high. They're a little older now, mature. Two, they can't qualify for it because a lot of those veterinary vet people, they get out of the military, they want 100% disability, right? And when they get 100% disability, in most cases, Daryl, they put everything in their mama on that medical record so they can declare them disabled or get that 100%. And ain't nothing. They probably don't even have all of that, but they gonna put it on it anyway so they can get out. But now it's on their record. So now when they get the insurance, everything pulls up and they're like, well, nothing's wrong with me. Not according to this. I can't do nothing about it. So it's important for people to get insurance outside of their employment, no matter where they are, state, government, city, military. If you're a police officer, if you're a teacher, you work for ExxonMobil. I got stories on them too, but it's a
Wow.
whole lot.
Right,
Okay. So
right, right.
that's a whole, I can go on and on
Well,
about that.
we're in the age of truth.
Mhm,
That's what they started off. I mean, I
mhm,
always been loving the truth, but we're in the
mhm.
age of truth. So you say you got something on extra, we don't do those kind of shows, but I mean, if it's going to help somebody that's there, because a lot of people are employed there. Met a gentleman the other day. He said, "Yeah, I was a VP with Exxon," and I said, "Oh, okay, that's good." He probably thought he was sitting good, and he probably still think he is covered with this
No,
life insurance stuff.
it's the dirty stuff that they do behind the scenes. See, we have somebody that works at my company now, told their story how they were a client first, wasn't a client, or they was about to become a client, but and now they work with our company. But the husband used to work for ExxonMobil, used to be higher up. He ended up dying on the job. They called the wife, said, "Hey, something happened to your husband." They didn't say he died. Something happened to your husband. Meet us at they're rushing him to such and such hospital. She drops Seeger off the phone. She rushes to the hospital. They're already there. She gives a name like, "Hey, I'm here for my husband." Boom, boom, boom. She goes to and please forgive me. I'm kind of remembering all the parts of the story, but pretty much they tell her what room that he's in. She's trying to get into the room, knocks on the door. She walks in. The nurses are like frantic. They push her back out. She's like, what's going on? The nurse walks in. She closes the door behind her. She was like, who are you? She's like, that's my husband. I'm here for my. And the wife, the wife can see the nurse's face. Like, I got to tell you something. She said, what? She said, your husband, he's dead.
Mm.
He said, what are you talking about? They just said something happened to him. He said, no, your husband's dead. Do you know that that major company kept that man on payroll for a few months just to demote him in his title so that the family wouldn't get the benefits that he worked so hard for his tenure?
Yeah, I do.
The
I
amount
do.
the more amount of assurance that he was supposed to get, they didn't get that either.
Yeah, I do believe that. I do believe that corporate
A
greed
dead
is
man.
Yeah, corporate greed is real, and it's unfortunate. That's why it's imperative that you do the things that Shonda is suggesting, both now and what she's gonna tell,
Yeah.
because you're behind the scenes. You
Mm-hmm.
see what's going on. You hear. I tell people all the time. I interact with the public, all genres, all generations, all ethnicities. I hear what they're saying, and so you're getting that same thing. You're getting that same tea from all over, and
Yep.
you're bringing it here back to your community and saying, "Listen, I know who's got it and who doesn't. I
Mm-hmm.
know who needs it and who doesn't, and I'm telling you, you need it, and I'm telling you why."
Mm-hmm.
I heard what you said. I'm in the military and all this hootenanny stuff and all this stuff. Forget all that. This is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you're the regional VP of your network.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, and this information needs to be trusted. And if you don't, like I said, go Google it, do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, let me repeat that you are licensed in this field.
Yes.
So you're certified. The state has said yes, you can talk about it, you can
Talk
practice
about
it, and this is important because people may hear this and say, well, that ain't what the whole whoever on TikTok or all this other stupid stuff.
it. Mm-hmm.
That ain't what I heard from over there. No. This is a licensed professional working daily in the field. That's so
Yep.
important.
Mm-hmm. I'm in the grind. That's why I tell people you be careful when you're listening to these top TikTok phenomenons or these um, people on YouTube. You don't know what their life is like. You don't know if they have a license. Most of them do not. They just
Mhm,
lucked out and got lucky with their own stuff, and now they're trying to educate other people on BS.
mhm,
And yeah, this is what I do. But look, I'm gonna be so honest with you. I'm a real straight up person. I could care less if you don't want to, want to believe me. I know what works and I know what needs to be done for families. And I don't have to convince anybody. I'm not trying to sell anybody to want and do better for their family. That is your family. That is your family. If you don't feel like they're worth it enough for you to protect them, to take care of them, that is not my problem. My job is to give you what you need so I can do and put your family in a better position. I'm not going to lose any sleep once I educate because it's up to you to make that decision.
mhm. And that leads me to a question. How
Mhm.
does changes in personal circumstances, like what you just said, getting married, having kids, things like purchasing a home, what if I already have life insurance? Like you said, the young lady, she doesn't have any, she's not married, she doesn't have any kids. Let's say I got 100,000 and I get married and I say, oh, that's not enough. We buy this 300, $400,000 house. Pull all that together as far as what we should be doing to make sure that everything is covered upon untimely death.
Well, first, when I sit down with somebody, I'm gonna do a something called a financial needs analysis with them, and I ask them what do they want their insurance to cover? Because technically, you want to replace or you want to protect the asset, you know. So when I sit with them and they want insurance, whoever is gonna reach out to me, I'm not one of your typical life insurance companies. Okay, I work with I have a financial brokerage firm, so I build financial houses. So I don't just give generic quotes. So don't reach out to me and be like, well, how much it is, $50,000. No, I don't work that way. Okay, mine is customized. Okay, so when I'm talking to you, and I'll say I'm talking to you, Daryl, and I say, well, Daryl, congratulations on you just got married. I understand that y'all bought a house. That's great, awesome. But you currently have $100,000 of life insurance. So let me ask you this though. Typically, when I hear the amount that you have, I times it by your income. So pretty much, you're saying that you make about $10,000 a year times 10. Is that what you're telling me? So if at the end of if something happens to you, would that $100,000 sustain your wife's lifestyle that y'all built together for the next 10 years? And they're like, nah. But if you make $40,000 a year, say that person make $40,000 a year. So do you think she needs all your income, some of your income, a little bit of your income? What does she need to live off of that? What do your kids need if you're expecting a baby? What do you think they need? Well, she needs all my income. Okay. So if you bring $40,000 a year, you times that at least by 10 years after you're gone. That's $400,000 of life insurance is what you need just to replace your income. Okay. Now, I typically find out what is it that they come into the household that takes care of the house. So I say you're, how much do you own on your house? Oh, I owe about 250,000. Okay. How long is your term of your house? What's the length? Oh, I got 27 more years or whatever it may be. Okay. So we're going to say that if something happens to you, would you want her to, what's going to happen in the house? Would you want it to be paid off? And oh yeah. Okay. So now we're going to add on another. I say we'll do another $200,000 of coverage on that just to cover the house. All right. So that's your mortgage you're taking care of. We took care of your income. Okay. Now let's talk about your education, your child. If something happens to you, do you want the life insurance to take care of the education, your child? Yeah. Okay. So we'll add another 50,000 onto that. Then we're gonna put some more for funeral expenses and stuff like that. What about any debt you have besides your house? Any other debt you have? Any consumer debt, car loans, personal loans, stuff like that? Oh no, all my stuff is paid off. Oh, okay, cool. So then I would add all of that up, and then I'll ask them: is there anything on here that's not important to you that you want to remove?
Oh, wow.
Oh, all that's important. Okay. So this is how much this costs for you to have that. This is your best plan. But I don't just give them the best plan unless it's within a certain amount of budget. So I'll ask them, what can you comfortably afford for your family to be properly protected? Out of each paycheck, I don't know. This is my first time. Okay. Well, out of each paycheck, you get paid every week. You told me, how much can you afford out of each paycheck? Oh, I can afford about I say about $100 every paycheck. Okay, so 4 times, that's $400. Say I don't even need all that $400. Just give me two, just for the life insurance part. So what I would do is I say for that $750,000 of life insurance that you need to cover all of this, that's going to run you $175. Protect you and your children is on that policy as well. Okay. Then all of a sudden I say, now you told me you had a difference that you had, like, this is what you got. Now I'm going to show you how to invest money with that other part you have. So now I give them, and I can come back with different plans. You told me that you can afford 400. You can really afford the best plan, but say that person couldn't afford the best plan. They said that their budget was only $50 or maybe $40 a month. I mean, out of paycheck. So now I would say, this is the best plan you need. This is a good plan. And this is a basic plan. Out of these three plans, which one do you think is best for your family? Well, this one is best. Which one can you easily afford? I can afford the one in the middle. My job is to protect the income, protect the household, not just to throw a lousy $50,000 policy on you because your family's going to hurt.
So you take the time, you take the care. You're that big sister. You started off as the big sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
My
you
job
fit in
is
it.
to show them.
Yeah, you're right in that same role where you don't have a issue saying what needs to be said.
No, I don't at all. Not at all. Not at all.
That's great.
You got to be okay with asking the tough questions because if something did happen, it's going to be a tough time for that family. I've been there when I was early on in my career. I was scared, to talk to these people. I'll sit there in their house and I'll go over it. And I remember a couple was arguing back and forth. The husband and wife was they were arguing about who was going to die first. I was the most craziest thing in my life. And they were going back and forth. And they were like, well, we're going to think about it. And I didn't push the issue. I didn't overcome that objection. I said, okay, that's fine. We'll come back and we'll call you tomorrow. Wrong move. The next morning, I got a call from the daughter. The husband passed away from picking up a TV. A hernia bust through. No insurance, man. Daryl, when I say that ate me up for such a long time, and I made a promise, I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm not there to be their friend. I'm there to disturb them and get them properly protected. And if they don't like me afterwards, I feel better knowing that your family is okay.
Right. And that leads me to something. What about that husband and wife that says he has insurance?
I'll say, well, what do you? I'll ask. Then I'll flip it because that insurance is for the wife, right? The wife is good. The wife is good if the husband died, right? But now I'll ask the husband, does your wife If something happens to your wife, do you need anything that she does? Any income that comes in from her, the stuff that she does in this house? Do you have the money to consistently get that paid out? Oh, no, I need a little bit of her money. What do you need? So I'm gonna replace, I'm gonna do the same thing, but maybe on a smaller scale. If she doesn't bring in a lot of money, maybe she is the breadwinner. Who knows? Whatever it may be, both of them are needed. And some people will look at it, well, she's the stay-at-home mom. But let's break that down.
Mm.
Okay, let's break that down. She passes away. You got young kids. Do you have money to pay for a nanny? And even if family comes in, do you know how taxing it is on them?
Yeah, you're twisting it in such a way that you can't leave the room without it.
Mhm.
You're here, sign up. Because what came to me was, I'm not leaving here, leaving him all that money. He gonna find a new woman anyway.
Oh, I hear that all the time, but I get
That,
it more from the men. I get it more from the men, but I hear it
okay,
all the
okay,
time.
but either way, and that's just a selfish play, you know.
Selfish. I one of my friends, oh my God, I've been through so many different things. I sat with one of my friends and his then wife, ex-wife now, and we were sitting down on Zoom at this point, and I was showing him everything, and we got to the life insurance part, and I said, "Do y'all guys have insurance outside of your jobs?" And he was like, "Nah." And I went over my spill of like, well, there's 5 reasons why people don't have it. Which one is it for you? He was like, "Oh, well, I don't have it because my family's gonna take care of them." I said, "Come again? What did you just say?" He said, "My family's gonna take." So the parents I know is gonna take care of your 2 kids and your wife. I said, "Oh, so whose responsibility is it? Did they have these babies? Did they get married to this wife?" He was like, "Well, I know that they're gonna take care of them." And I was looking like, so you're saying that it's good enough for you while you're living to work for them to have this lifestyle, but if you were to die, they don't deserve this lifestyle no more. They only deserve what your family is willing to give them, and we don't know what your family's gonna do. What if your family dies before you? Then what happens? And so he was like, it is what it is. When I say his wife started crying on that daggone call, I was so embarrassed. And then in the same breath after that, he gonna ask me because we were planning to go to Costa Rica um, later that year. And he said, so let's talk about these plans to Costa Rica. And I said, nah, bro, I won't be making no plans with you.
It changes. I mean, when you, I, I, I'll tell you off air. That's all I can
Yeah.
tell
Girl, your whole
you. Yeah,
priority is jacked up, and you want to plan. Nah, I ain't going with you. We done. I ain't got
yeah.
no plans with you. So it's serious out there. I just wish people would take it more
It's
seriously. You know?
especially our people. I mean, we see it on, oh, this is that, and I'm going over here and I'm going over there, and income tax time, they're buying cars and the sneakers and showing pictures of a closet just full of Jordans and stuff.
I'm like, are you
And
kidding me?
yeah, and it's like, $50, $60 video games and $500 gaming systems. And it's like
And
the
no insurance.
bottles are $80 or $100 a bottle.
Hmm.
And it's just so much. And it's tough. It's tough for me to take you serious. I can only guess how other people are looking at the community. Like, it's tough for us to take you serious. Your
Hmm.
grandmother had life insurance. That man used to come to the house. It was John Hancock insurance. I believe that's what it was. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
a little boy. I don't know, but the only white man that ever came to my house was the insurance man that they let in.
And
You know,
think about that too. Think about that. This probably gonna rub a lot of people wrong. See, I only believe in buy term and invest the difference. That's all I believe in. And then, yes, you asked me earlier that there was other insurance. Yes, there is. After the group life insurance, you also have, whole life. You got index universal life. You got universal life, variable annuities life. You got term insurance. You have renewable term. It's a whole bunch of different insurances. Okay. One thing I tell people: insurance is never intended for you to pay a bill for your whole life. Never. Okay. Um, a lot of people look at me and they say, well, why don't you believe and offer that? There's different situations. You do your different situation the way you want. Let me tell you something. Life insurance, people find out about it. It's not their first time hearing it. Okay. That was their first time they decided to take it serious. So I don't offer that type of insurance because there's different things that people don't know how to read in their policies. So my job is to show them and educate them in their policies how to read it. And there's things in there that people don't understand. And if they really understood it, they would never buy it.
Hmm.
I was sitting down, we were at a convention with and these other um, insurance people. And one of the guys that we all kind of knew, he was, one of our Caucasian brothers and sisters. And he said, one of my friends who was just really outspoken, I would have never asked him this, but he did. He was like, Rob, what type of insurance you push? And he was like, well, I'm, mainly I do whole life. He said, well, who's your market? Who's your main market? He said, don't take offense, but it's the African American market. And he said, well, why is that, bro? He said, well, because African Americans don't think for the future. They think about right now. So when I offer them a whole life, it don't have to be a lot of insurance as long as they know they can borrow from it. And if they can borrow from it and have right now money, that's all that matters. They don't matter if I gave them a $10,000 policy with that. They don't care if it's a $50,000 policy, as long as they hear the words that they can borrow from it. And he said, the guy said, well, what type of insurance you got? I said, I have term. So I tell people, you got to be careful. They know exactly what they're doing. And it's set up, it's highway robbery because you don't know how it works. And a lot of people may frown about what I'm saying because somebody told you, you swore by it, your family had it, you got all this money saved in it. But if you know how these policies work, you wouldn't get it because nobody likes to be taken advantage of. Nobody. It sounds good. It's sold to you pretty, But when you open up policies and you really read what's in it and they purposely make the lingo hard for you to understand, it's like reading the old freaking Testament and the new King James Version. You sitting there like the King James Version, you sitting there like, I don't know what the heck this says. That's how the policies are too, And people, my job is to educate them on that and then offer them something better if I can. If I can, I'm gonna leave it alone, but at least they understand how their policy works. You got to make sure that the impact matches your intentions.
Yeah, you're right about that, and you're definitely right about that policy because I remember that my grandfather used to borrow against it. Now again, this was before I even knew what term was, what this one was. I didn't know. I just knew they had it. I couldn't break it down, and I do have terms, so I guess I'm doing something right. I knew what I did know is not to get that accidental death. I knew not to get that.
Definitely don't get that at all.
I knew not to get that, and I knew because, like I say, my dad had got it. But
not all term is created equal either. So be careful. A lot of people gravitate to Gerber policies. Let's talk about it. We want to be real, right?
Gerber. Now Gerber, is that they used? Yeah, I remember seeing that a lot. Yes. Okay, bring it on here. We got room on the plate.
If McDonald's started giving out life insurance, would you trust it?
Nah, I don't trust them at all. They sell 50-cent hamburgers. I can't trust that that's even meat.
Exactly. What is Gerber Company?
Yeah, that was that baby food, right? Yeah.
But now you trust them with just giving life insurance, but they sell baby food. The jar is cheaper than that daggone sandwich you talked about at McDonald's.
Right.
But we're trusting them to give a policy. See, people don't know what's in these policies, just like they don't know what's in that meat at McDonald's, right? And they're living and swearing by these policies because they're selling them on a college savings plan. Now, granted, I know I'm probably gonna get some people, they're gonna call you there and they be like, oh, she wrong because my sister-in-law, baby cousin Tracy, you know what I'm saying, did and had this policy and she was able, I'm like, let me tell you something. I will break that policy down for you. I can show you better than I can tell you. Then how these policies work. These are not good policies. A lot of these people are taking advantage of people. And people need to have this insurance. If you got to think about it, if there wouldn't have been a lot of police brutality or, even black on black crime, possibly, and as much racism to us, if everybody in the black community had $250,000, $500,000, $1 million policy, imagine you killing one of us and you pay our family $1 million. They would not.
You going to the higher level right now, Shonda. You going to the highest level right now, Shonda. You at some point I'm gonna have to pass the plate around. We got to pick up an offering for it, right?
I'm just speaking the truth. We said this is the year of truth, right? I'm just
This
speaking
is
the
the year of truth. And it's funny that you say that, because what I was going to say, I mean, I've heard stories of people putting life insurance on gang members and stuff like that. Never could confirm. But the accidental death, going back to that for just a little bit,
truth.
does it pay out for that? Gunshots and drive-bys and stuff like that.
No, that's not an accident.
Oh, wow.
That's not an accident. They talking about an accident, baby. No, that is not deemed as an accident under a accidental death policy. Accident is you were in a damn airplane. Okay?
Oh, wow.
The wheel came off of the car and you hit a pole. They even if you swerved sometimes, and this is so bizarre to me. You could swerve from hitting a deer. You die because you hit the tree. They're gonna say, well, if she didn't swerve the deer, she would never die. So it really wasn't an accident of the tree. I mean, it gets deep.
Mm.
They analyze those policies just to don't pay them out.
So I would say, for the non-ratchet folk, don't call this young lady with that craziness. Even if you have life insurance, the way I'm hearing you speak, someone needs to, if however they do it, I don't know, I'm not even going to invite them to do it. I don't want to, but I also do want to just to look over what they have and make sure you have what you're supposed to have, or
Mhm.
at least some financial a licensed
Please,
insurance agent or broker
please,
to
please,
look
and
over what you have.
look over it. And not all of them are going to do that. Not all of them are going to do that. So most of them work Monday through Friday, and it's over on the weekend. Look, death don't stop on the weekends. Okay, they don't end. They don't. Death doesn't stop at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. My clients can call me at 9 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and if they got a question and there's something concerning them, I'm going to answer them. They jump on my Zoom just like I'm talking to Daryl right now, and I can see them. They can see me. I can share my screen. I can show them some stuff. Your company is not going to take the time to do that. I
Mm-mm,
can promise you that.
mm-mm.
The education behind what you're getting is always important because it's not for you, it's for your family, right? It's for your family.
Shonda, other than not getting life insurance from you,
Hmm.
what are some of the other common mistakes people make when they do get the insurance? You may have covered some of that, but I just wanted to see, other than not getting it from you, because if you don't get life insurance or any, at least let this sister look at what you have and go over your financial GPS. So it's not just getting the life insurance, it's
Hmm.
helping you go through that emotional process and all that kind of stuff. If you're not doing it with her, that's the first mistake. What are some of the other common mistakes that you see and hear about?
Um, One, when a lot of major insurance companies don't inform the beneficiaries that they're listed on the policy. So a lot of policies never get paid out because the beneficiary was never even aware that there was a policy even existed. So we take a proactive approach to contacting the beneficiaries. We let the policyholder know, let them know that we'll be reaching out, and we give them information from us to say if anything happens, you know who to contact. This is the process. Most people don't even know where to begin, how to start, no nothing. Don't just take your policy and lock it away. When you get a policy, don't just lock it away and then the people don't know where they're going. You got it in a locked case sealed in a bomber shelter or something. They can't even get to it. You know, always that's another thing. So you got to make sure they're aware, okay? They have access to it, okay? The next thing is when it comes down to your insurance, um, if something were to happen, never give your policy to the funeral home. The
And why is
funeral
that? Why is that?
home is a business. Okay. So if you gave them your policy and they see the base amount that you're going to get, it's $500,000. What do you think the funeral home is going to do? Upsell you on everything that you could possibly get for the passing of your family. And guess what they do? They are building and feeding off the grieving and the emotions that you have. So it's like I gotta give the best for my mom, and best for no.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I get it, but you have the insurance company. You contact your insurance agent, allow them to work for you, or allow you to direct you to somebody that is better in better control of handling this so that they can take the necessary proper stops. Never give your policy to a funeral home and have their way with it, because you don't even know what the hell you're going to get. Okay. Some people like, well, have the money sent. No, you're not. You don't have dough. You designate the person who's going to handle that, where the money's going to come, but you never allow them to see what you're getting from the insurance company.
Mm, that's a big deal. I mean, you're getting it all right here. You're getting it all. Now
Yep.
you mentioned term life, Shonda.
Yes.
What is the next one that people you see them get a lot of?
Whole life.
Whole life.
Hmm.
Okay.
Um, I get a lot of people that get that. Let me. Do you mind if I share something real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so let me
And then I
share this.
got one more question about life insurance that's been around, and I'm in the process of doing it, and that'll take us into that next piece. But go ahead, share your slide.
Um, Let me put it on the right one, and I want to do it for you because you got me covering most of my stuff without showing y'all.
Oh, that's okay. We can go over it. Let's make sure
Okay.
for the
Let me
people
make
that
sure.
just woke up.
Yeah, we may have to do two segments. Let me just double
That's
check
fine.
my schedule.
That's fine. See, you was putting all that food on the plate. You dropping all these bombs.
Oh, we good. We good. My next appointment out to 6:30.
Okay.
Okay, so we good. All right. I may cover a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna cover with you real quick. So I'm gonna go through these slides. Stop me where you got the questions, okay? Because I know you're prepared on this, okay? So
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm a person that likes to share and
Hmm.
show, so I can show people better than I can tell them, okay?
Okay.
All right. So whenever I'm sitting with someone, I understand I meet them right where they are. Okay. I meet them right where they are, Daryl. It's so important because people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Okay. So when I sit down with them, my job is to build them a financial house. Like I kept telling y'all, to build a financial house. Whenever you're building a house, Daryl, the first part of it that needs to be built first is the foundation, right?
I know.
Absolutely. So that foundation is protecting their client's income. That's why we start with the life insurance first. I want to make sure they have the right type of life insurance and the right amount. Okay. Once the foundation is laid, I work on their budget, emergency fund, and their will, their debt elimination plan, retirement, college savings, and other goals and dreams. The crazy thing about our community, we start with the roof first when we're trying to build a house. We're going for our goals and dreams, spend all of our money. We don't have no income protection, and the whole house starts to crumble down when somebody passes away. Okay, so we got to start with the foundation first. This is a question I always ask anybody, especially my clients when they're coming to me or they're looking to become one of my clients. I got to test, I got to figure out where they are, So I asked them on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to become properly protected, debt free, and financially independent? If my clients say anything less than a 10, I don't move forward with them because I cannot give you desire, but I can give you a plan and I can help you achieve it. But if you don't have a high desire to protect your family, to do better for your family, that's not my job.
Hmm.
Make sense?
That makes a whole lot of sense.
This is our mission. Our mission is to help people help our families to earn more income, become properly protected, debt free, and financially independent, which most people want. That's our mission, right? So our solution is to provide them with a financial needs analysis. It's a customized, confidential, complementary program that helps them achieve their goals and dreams. And like we've been mentioning throughout the time, it's a financial GPS, helps them navigate through their financial decisions so they can achieve everything that they want to achieve. But they need a GPS. You aren't going to drive from here to California. You've never been there, never drove that without a map and a GPS, right?
Right.
So if you've never reached financial independence, you haven't become debt free, you need a GPS to help you get there properly. Okay. Now you stop me if you got questions. Okay.
No, no, you covering some of them. I don't even want to mess with you.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Daryl. You ever heard of the rule of 72?
I have.
Good. Most people haven't. I didn't know nothing about this mess until I got into this company, okay? Until I started working this and get into the industry. So
Hmm.
the rule of 72, for those who are listening, it was discovered by Albert Einstein. It was his greatest discovery, okay? And how it works, it teaches people how to divide your interest rate into 72 to find the approximate number of years it takes for your money to double. So say I gave you, Daryl, $10,000. $10,000, you decide to put it in the bank. All you could do with is save the money. The bank gives you 3%. Now we know that banks are not giving any 3% out there, but say they are today. 3% goes into 72 24 times. That means every 24 years the money doubles. That's a long time for you to wait for your money to double. And it's even longer today because nobody's giving a 3% interest rate. It's a lot lower than that. Okay.
That's right.
Now 6%, maybe you put it in the 401k, is yielding 6%. 6 goes into 72 every 12 years. You got $160,000. That's better than 40,000, but Daryl, is that enough for retirement?
Oh no, definitely not.
Not at all. But now you got 12%. Now I would like to say 12%, maybe you find that in a mutual fund. 12% goes into 72 6 times. And then now the money is compounding because it's working harder. It has a high yielding interest rate, right? So you want your money to work harder for you instead of you working so hard for the money. That person 48 years later got 2.5 million versus them actually having 40 with a lower interest rate. So I'm always asking this question: how do you expect to win the game if you don't know the rules? Right? Everybody talking about hustling. What hustle game that you working on if you don't understand the rules? You just out here doing stuff. You too busy being broke and rather than getting ahead. Right? And then who would learn this? Who would learn from this? Who will learn this? Who would benefit from learning this rule? Right? Everybody would, right?
Everybody would. That's correct.
And this should be something that they should be teaching in school. I know we all say that this should be some crazy stuff that they should add in there, especially about life skills and money and knowing how to understand themselves before they get out in this real world. But hey, that's not how it is, right? And then without you introducing, I always say, you want to get everybody into this. Introduce everybody. Listen, you need to reach out. You need to reach out to me, okay?
Correct. Correct.
Right? Reach
Correct.
out to me. I'll educate you a little bit. So any questions on this before I go to the next one?
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
The one question I would have, again, I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say someone like myself, you talking 48, so that's 90. I'd be 98. My grandmother was 96. I don't know if I can pull it off.
Right.
Right. So what would something like this look like for me?
So for you would have to just put more. Like this is just letting this $10,000 and rocking. They not
kids.
after. Yeah.
It's good for my kids.
Yeah, this is for your kids starting a lot younger. This is probably somebody that's maybe around late 20s, early 30s that they're getting into investment. Correct. Now, there's a cost of waiting. There's a cost to waiting, okay? So if you were starting if you're starting later on in the game, doesn't mean that you cannot. It doesn't mean, that it's never too late. It's just that now can you afford to put in a lot more to make up for the lost time? Right. Because all the time that you did not invest, you lost a whole lot of money. I probably would scare the heck out of you if I showed you how much money you lost.
Oh, no, you wouldn't scare me because I figure it out. So I can tell my kids. And I look for ways to tell them, to get them to understand you have to save your money. Mm-hmm. And I literally I'm not going to say how much I didn't save over the course of my life because it's really heartbreaking.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. I don't even like to think of it because I need to walk around with good energy, and I don't need to be just going off on people and they don't understand that I just did this calculation and that's why I'm mad. You know what I mean?
Right. That cost of waiting is big. And that's a really good tool. I show young people that if you just waited 1 year, you just missed out on like $70,000. You waited 5 years. You started at 30 years old. You just missed out on, I don't know, maybe $165,000. You wait another 5 years. And now you missed out on 400 and something. They like, you got to be kidding me. Nobody want to lose out on their money, right? But it's the stuff that we don't know. And it's not for us as adults. Like you said, if we wanted to dwell in the fact that we didn't do that, we can be depressed. Like that was a lot of daggone money. But the fact that you're looking at, nope, I may not have the time to do it, but I can teach my kids.
Absolutely.
I can make sure they don't repeat the same mistake. Absolutely. Right? So that's how we take it.
Okay.
That was a good question. I like it. I educate people here on this one. Is the big one. Some people still don't understand like the concept of insurance. Like I kind of covered this before already. that, you got this family, they both bring in $3,500, they have their child, and they got $7,000 of living expenses, but one of them passes away. And when they pass away, what does the family lose? That's the other half of the income. So that means that that person that's left behind was depending on the other half to maintain that lifestyle. Now everything's gone. She's gonna have to get multiple jobs. She's gonna either, decrease her lifestyle. She's gonna have to do something strange for some change. And we don't want nobody to do that, right?
Yeah, right. Definitely
So,
not.
like I was explaining to you, if that person, our job is to get in front of our people as quick as possible because we don't know the day or the hour. But if we had a chance to sit with this couple for $420,000 of insurance on this man, and the reason why we do that because he's bringing in $42,000 a year. Times that by 10 years, that's 420,000. Divide that 42,000 by 3,500. That's 3,500. I mean, by 12 months, that's $3,500 a month. So we're replacing his income at least. Now she
Mhm.
can maintain the lifestyle without feeling the financial burden. There's no GoFundMe's. There's no let me borrow from my mom. Let's get a personal loan. There's no fish fries. That's our
Scamming.
scamming people. Let's not do that. But if you can take the opportunity to protect your family, that responsibility is not somebody else's. You know.
Wow. Wow.
See what else I got here.
This is a big deal.
Mhm.
It's a really big deal. I talk about it in my book. One of the last things I mentioned in my book, if you don't do any of the things I talk about, Christmas is coming. All I want for Christmas is good credit and positive cash flow. At the end of the book, I say, if you don't do any of this, at least get some life insurance.
At least.
And here we see why that you need to do this. And let me just say, whenever someone says I have something and I'm a broker at this and I sell this, I don't feel like something's being sold. I feel like I'm being informed so that I can make the right decision.
That's the
And
key.
and, and that's so important. I feel like I'm being informed here with this. I
That's
just want to thank you for that. Thank you for taking the time to work this and deliver this.
no problem. No problem. That's the whole thing where I said I meet them where they are. I ask questions. I see what they want. My relationship with my clients are different. It's not just, oh, let me just go ahead and slap this insurance on you. Let's go ahead and set up the plan. Now we got to put this foundation in place and then we're gonna work up to everything else. And that's building a rapport
Hmm.
with them. So this part is important. I appreciate you saying that and appreciating this part as well.
Hmm.
But when I do sit down with my clients, that financial needs analysis, we call it the F&A. It shows them the before and after where they are currently and where I'm going to take them. So in this situation, say I'm talking to another agent, John and Mary. I mean, not agent, but couple. They have $100,000 of life insurance already. They're paying $225 a month for their cash value policy, and they're going to be saving like $76,000 in their cash value. So to everybody else, they'd be like, "Oh, they sound good." Nah, they don't. You know, my job is to make sure the foundation is solid, ain't no cracks. So I
Wow.
say, I know you want me to help you in your investments, but I got to check your foundation first. So we have them pull out their policies because most people, what do? They tuck it away. They don't even remember what company they're with or how much they have. They just know it comes out automatically. When was the last time you got a policy review? Oh, I don't know. I ain't have it since Junior was like a baby. Junior like 25. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So let's pull it out. So they read it over and we finding out what they have. And I'm like, and I remember I sat down with one couple and they were like, well, Shonda, it says here that I bought it because I can borrow the money and I can save it. And I'm like, that's awesome, isn't that? That's great. But what else does that policy say that now that you're reading it? Oh, but if I borrow, if I borrow the money, I got to pay it back with what? With interest. But that's your money. That's your money. Does it make sense for you to borrow your own money and pay it back with interest?
Mm.
Well, no, that now that you say that, no, it doesn't. Okay. Well, if you read down even further, what else does it say? What happens when you don't pay it back before you die? Well, it says that they're gonna take it out of the death benefit. Death
Mhm.
benefit is how much coverage you pay for it. So why
Mhm.
would they take the money you borrow from yourself out of your life insurance that you pay for every month? You already pay for that insurance.
Mhm.
So why would your money you borrow from yourself got to be taken out of life insurance because you didn't pay it back? That's your money.
Mm.
Okay. So they like, I don't know. I said, but they sold you this? They said, yeah. I'm like, dang, what else it say? And they say, I said, well, what happens if you don't borrow it?
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know. I said, well, look right here in this paragraph. Does it say that they're gonna pay out the greater of the two? They say, yeah. What that mean? Well, your life insurance is more than the what you saved in your cash value, right? Yes. And if you think that because you have the insurance and you save this money, that your family should get both of those, right? And they're like, yeah, that's logical. I'm like, you're logically right.
Uh-huh.
But that's not how it works in that industry, not with this type of coverage. Most of them, what they say, they're going to pay out greater than two. So they will pay out the life insurance, but all that money that you saved up in that cash value all this time, the company keeps it.
And they've been investing, and they done made over $100,000 return on it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I
So
mean, this is now which policy would this have been that John and Mary had?
whole life.
Okay, that's the one my grandfather and them was getting. I'm putting it on John Hancock. Allegedly, they were pushing out a
All of
lot of
them.
whole.
All of them. You want to be real? All
Yeah,
of
but that was
us.
the only one I knew of. Whole because John Hancock was like,
The one.
I mean, it was like a bounty paper. If
Hmm.
you done never heard of bounty, it was like, yo, what paper towels you got? Bounty? You don't got bounty?
Right.
That was
It was
like,
a household name. It was a household name.
yeah, John
You
Hancock,
know,
yeah, that blue
Prudential was
letter,
a household name. You know,
potential, yeah, you're right.
yeah. I mean, but they all wrong.
They all
Snake,
wrong. They
Snake
all wrong.
Farm, New York Knife, all of them. They all wrong.
Wow. And
Right.
they did that in our community. I mean, I'm not surprised they did it in our community because so much is there. But you're here, and they've allowed you to get in. They've allowed you to move up, regional VP, and you've gotten a voice. You're not afraid to tell people what they need to hear. Put these
No.
presentations together, and let me just add, you also do this for groups, families.
Oh, yes.
The
Yes.
Zoom presentation, you'll give them this information
Mm-hmm.
because that's
Yep.
what it is. This is so informative. People
Mm-hmm.
just don't know, and we're moving to a place where people say, "No, I didn't know that." Okay, well
Mm-hmm.
now you know. I always tell my kids, you can't unhear what you heard, you can't unsee what you've seen. So stop
True.
trying to act like I didn't say it because you seen it, you heard it. Now
Mm-hmm.
what you gonna do? Now what you gonna do?
Right. You can't
Um,
say the wrong thing to the right person.
right. That's so
Period.
true. That's so true.
Period.
I apologize. Go ahead. Go ahead,
No, no,
Shonda.
you're fine. You're fine. You're asking the question. This your show. We gonna make sure we cover what you need to be you want covered tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got to give it to him. We got to give it to him.
Right.
It's
So
funny. It's
what?
real quick. I told the funeral director that I had on.
Mhm.
I said, sometimes you need somebody else to say something to your loved ones
Right.
because if they hear it from you, they're not going to take it the same way.
Absolutely.
And so, with a show like tonight, you're talking to my directly to my family. I know that for a fact. This is going to
Wow.
air out, it's going to be out there in the universe for years and years to come. But I know you're talking to my people.
Hmm.
Some of them, they're not able to get coverage, but at least they'll be able to pass this down to their kids and their grandkids.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's the
All
whole
right.
purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I appreciate that. Hey, family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you talking to them.
So let's talk about this part right here. So they have that insurance. This is for all my people that got that whole life. You don't believe me? Contact me. But when you contact me, you better come correct. You
Mm-hmm.
better have your policy with you. Cause I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. You can argue me down all day. My policy don't work this way all day. I do not hear none of that. Show me your policy and I will show you what you have.
Mm,
Okay. And if I can't make it better for you, I owe you dinner.
mm,
Period.
mm.
Okay. Now, unless you just can't qualify for more insurance because you just got some health issues, that's a different story.
That's
But
different.
I honestly, I do not play when it comes down to this. Yes, yes. Sorry, that was my son.
That's cool.
One of the heirs to the kingdom. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a great word. Heirs.
Yes, one of the heirs.
Heirs. Make sure
Yes,
they
one of
get
the
that right.
heirs
Not
to
that
the
Michael
kingdom.
Jordan. Not that
Yes.
Michael Jordan air, that
Yeah.
different air.
Yes, yes. Heirs to the kingdom. So on the right hand side, after they were blown away, I mean, I had some people sometimes they was like, Shonda, are you serious? I said, you don't believe me? Let's call your company. Not the agent, the company. Why customer service don't got no attachment, no benefit. They don't have no emotional money attachment to your policy. They're gonna give it to you real. So I'm gonna
Mm,
tell you, ask the same questions I did you just found in this policy. They're gonna verify everything I said.
mm,
Everything. So then when they do that, I say, well, let me show you what I can do for you. So with this particular company, I mean, a couple, I gave them $250 of coverage. It's a 30-year level term policy. They're paying $80 a month for it, and they saved $145. Now, regardless of what people say, well, I don't go with that term because term runs out. Well, so does your car insurance. So does
mm-hmm,
any other type of insurance. You have to renew it. Now,
mm-hmm,
not all term is created equal, and not all term renews like we do. We do renew the
mm-hmm,
policy, then if you want to get it. Now, with ours, with us, we just feel like you should have more insurance for less money, you
mm-hmm,
know? And so we're going to show this couple how we're going to take that same $225 that they were spending out on just that policy that they thought was going to do well, and how to have more insurance and invest at the same time. So here, they're having more coverage, they're paying less money. We saved them $145. Now let's drop down to the retirement. John and Mary had $20,000 already saved in an IRA at their bank, earning a 1.5% interest rate. We know that's not a lot of interest right there.
not at
So
all.
that's very low. But if they kept doing what they were doing, they were only going to have $80,000 for their retirement. I know a lot of people that retire, man, they be so excited to sit down with us. And then we show them what they have. They be like, what? They cry. They immediately start crying because they knew they gotta keep working.
They got to keep working.
They gotta
Mm-hmm,
keep working, you know? So here we rolled over their money, put it in a mutual fund. Mutual funds, we do a lot. We do Roth IRAs, mutual funds, 401ks. We even do it for businesses. If you got employees and they want or retirement, we set all that up. We do all that stuff.
mm-hmm.
Um, that's a call for another time for me to go real deep, just in case Daryl start giving me questions on it.
No, no, I'm
Um,
not gonna. Not
but
today. I'm not gonna do it to you.
okay,
All
but
right.
this one we choose the mutual funds. They average about a 10% interest rate since the 1930s. So since the Great Depression, they've been averaging a 10% interest rate, no matter how crazy the world has been. With the 2008, 2008 crash with the market for the housing market, to the 9/11 event, to COVID, to whatever, they average a 10% interest rate. Okay.
Mm,
So in this case, we use the money we saved them from their life insurance. We use the money that they were already investing every month for their investments. And if we had invested it at a low 6%, moderate rate of 6%, they would have over 372,000 for retirement. If we invested it at a 9%, they would have it at 755. I'm
mm,
always looking like, what side would typically want to go to after I show them what we can do for them?
right.
Most people would choose B. Now,
Correct.
common sense is not all that common, Daryl. So we got
Oh,
some people that's just like, oh my
tell me
God,
about that. Tell me
I've been
about
with
that.
this company all my life. So let me tell you, if this agent who sold you this policy was in the same movie theater as you and your family and it caught on fire, would you save the agent or would you save your family?
Wow, that's deep.
And I leave it at that.
That's deep. That's. I mean, you really you bringing it all with you. You
Yeah.
bringing it all. You bringing it all, Shonda. And I mean, yeah, you bringing it all. Looking at this here, so John and Mary, they had 225 that they was already doing. They had already sacrificed that. They dedicated that. That's part of their hard costs.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about hard costs and soft costs. That's the 225. You came in, keep doing what you're doing. 225, broke that down, got them more coverage
Mm-hmm.
for less money, and that
Mm-hmm.
$80 that they already had in their hard costs, pulled it down to the retirement plan. No, no, no. That's the part we need to connect for me.
Mm-hmm.
The
So
the $80.
yep, the $80 they that's what they're paying for their life insurance, but we save them 145 a month.
Correct.
So instead of them just pocketing that money and putting it somewhere else, we show them how to invest that money, make it work harder for them.
Okay,
Make
you
it
pulled it
more.
down. You pulled it
Yep.
down to the IRA. I got
Yep.
you.
So yep. So
I
we
got you.
didn't pull it down to the IRA. We moved it into a mutual fund along with their money that they had in their IRA.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Along with. Okay. So
Yep. Along
now,
with.
so now the 20,000 that was in the IRA that they might have knew about, they might not have known about. Now that's rolled over and they increase even more. They start contributing even more. The $145.
Right.
Got you. Got you. That's
Mm-hmm.
all. That's all bringing it home.
Mm-hmm. So that's why we believe in buy term and invest the difference. We believe that you should have insurance and you should save. We just don't believe that you should put it in the same pot. So, because the question is I want y'all to ask yourself is, can you live and die physically at the same time? You
Mm-mm.
cannot.
Mm-mm.
So it doesn't make sense for you to put your life insurance, which is for dying, and your savings, which is for living, in the same pot. One should
Mm.
not impact the other. You should have both, but it should never be put in the same pot. Okay, that's how that works.
This is heavy. This is heavy.
Mhm. So that's that. And just in case some of those who are, this is a little trick. I call this my arsenal. I pull this tool out for some of my people that have certain things, and I asked them this question. I said, where would you rather save your money? If I gave you $1,000 and I want $2,000 and I wanted you to tell me which bank. Now this is a hypothetical situation. I want you to tell me based off of what you see on the screen. And you had two banks to choose to put your money in. Now you put it in bank A, you decide to put it in bank A, but you go back 2 years later to pull some money out, Daryl, and there's $0 in your account. How would you feel?
Well, first of all, that's not even biblical. Jesus
Mm-hmm.
spoke against that.
Mm-hmm.
He would
Absolutely.
he wouldn't even allow the gentleman that came back with the same talent that he gave him. He had no
To
return.
have. Hey, come on now. Come on now.
So that's the first thing that came to my mind without reading the other points.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. I don't want to
No, you're
interrupt you.
good. But
Yeah.
that's one, so that you already in there with that. And then, but bank B, or you can get all your money and then some. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bank A, they say they're going to give you 1 to 4% rate of return on your money. Bank B says they give you 7% and up return on your money. Bank A says you can borrow your money and you pay it back on a 6 to 8% on the loan. Bank B says you can withdraw your money whenever you like. Bank A says they may take up to 6 months to give you the money that you're asking for. Bank B says your money is available immediately.
Mm.
Bank A says they will keep all your money when you die. Bank B says the money will go to your beneficiary when you die. Where would you rather save your money?
Oh yeah, definitely Bank B.
All day. Now, these are my people that they say, oh, I will go with Bank B. They always say Bank B. And I say, would you knowingly save your money in an account that works like Bank A? They say, no, I would never.
Right.
Okay. What would you call somebody who had their money in Bank A, found out about Bank B, and decided to stay with Bank A? Most people say, oh, they got to be crazy, stupid. Oh my God. I said,
Yeah.
remember you said that. Remember you said that.
Right.
Okay. And then I say, if you had your money there, would you want somebody to tell you that your money is in Bank A? Yeah. Would you tell your family? Yeah. Is there anything I could do to convince you to keep your money in Bank A? No.
Right.
Okay. So you told me earlier, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, you had a whole life policy, right? You say yes. Well, listen, these two banks, they don't really exist. It's for an example. Okay. But what really works like like Bank A is your whole life policy.
Mm.
Now, would you like me to show you in your policy where it says that? So then they get really quiet on me, Daryl, and then they're like, and I'm like, how do you feel about that? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Well, do you want to continue to have somebody keep taking advantage of you and your family, or would you rather do something about it?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do something about it. Would you mind grabbing your policy for me? Because I'm still, even though I showed them this, I still want to show them in the policy they bought,
Correct. Correct.
show them in that writing. So this is the stuff that I kind of go over, Daryl, with my prospective clients, and just educate. And anybody that comes on board with me, I'm always looking for sharp people to work from home remotely, get licensed in this industry, understand money. Even if you're not into, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not into sales." It's okay. Even though you just never, nobody taught you how to properly get yeses, but this is, even if you came in for the education, Come in for the education, learn the money from the inside out, understand how money works if anybody ever was looking. But this is what I educate. This is what I do.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned sales. I was a broker, real estate broker in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned what I learned was people know what they want. They know, they think they know what they need.
Mm-hmm.
That's the information. Now, if I've given you the correct information and you've done a transaction for me with me,
Mm-hmm.
that may be the sale, but that's not what made you buy it. It's the information.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't need the information, then you're not going to buy nothing.
I
You can
agree.
go to any car lot you want. If you're looking for a Jeep, if that's what you need. I don't know if they're going to be able to sell you a two-door Corvette.
I
They
agree.
shouldn't be able to sell you that. That's not what you need. This
Exactly.
this information that you're giving out here right now, this teaching is information. Anybody looks at it as a sale, as a close, truth don't need to be validated.
Yep.
This is true stuff, and it don't need to be validated.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, this is great stuff. But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question because you give me a lot of your time, and I want to bring you home. I want to
Okay.
bring you home. And you know, your son came in there, and Mom, I thought you was cooking tonight. No, I know he didn't say that, but the one thing I wanted to ask about the life insurance piece
Mm-hmm.
is you said, hey, people put it in the safe.
Yes.
And I'm going to a place and you'll probably have to pick it up on another show.
Okay.
What about putting the life insurance policy in a trust?
Mm. Only people. A lot of people do that. Well, let me some people do that, and people that do that really have a lot of assets. Um, Whenever it really happens, is that they put down a beneficiary that was not of age in most cases. When that person died, I never recommend putting young children under 18 on it as a business beneficiary because it automatically goes into a trust fund if something happens. So that means that they can't get their money out to be taken care of properly. And if they do, even if they put a custodian person on there to handle the funds, it's usually not as easy and simple as people think. Okay. So I never recommend that people uh, put their younger kids on there as the main beneficiaries. I would say find someone that is someone you can trust that will handle this money and they will take care of your kids. I know that's hard sometimes, but I would never recommend this to put your younger kids down without having somebody else that you think will manage the money. And that's usually when it really goes into trust. But a trust period, I don't recommend doing it. I just because you're allowing you're putting these families into they need the money right now. In most cases, when somebody dies, it's these things that got to get taken care of. Unless this person is well off, if they're well off and that person doesn't really need that insurance money, most people need the insurance money. Trust funds are really good for where you can delegate how you want this money to be paid out to that individual, or um, uh, how you want it to because it's somebody younger,
Mhm.
or maybe, but I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you're just leaving a whole lot and you have a lot of assets and that family is not needing that money right at that moment. I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you're set. They're good, regardless if they get paid out that life insurance or not.
That's great. That's great. Shonda, you've emptied so much of yourself tonight, and I appreciate that. Now, let me ask you, who's been your greatest supporter throughout your journey, throughout your entrepreneurship?
Um, my mom.
Mom.
Um, my mom has been my biggest supporter. Even when business was really tough at times, business is business for anybody that's a really true, in true business. It's not just me. I build a distribution. So for those who understand that, that means it comes with a system and it can run with or without you. Um, but my mom is my biggest support, and my kids, oh my God, my kids, man, they're they they're I am definitely blessed. God blessed me with some amazing children, and yeah, they are my biggest supporters as well.
Okay. That leads me to my next question.
Hmm.
What are you most passionate about at this point in your life? I'm sure that changes there, here, or there, but what are you most passionate about?
Freedom,
What
freedom.
does that look like?
Freedom looks like you do what you want to do when you want to do it, who you want to do it with. You know what I'm saying? Freedom looks like I don't go to work for nobody because I have to. I do it because I want to, or even if it's a business. Freedom is having, for me right now, I'm fighting to make sure that I have about 30 to $45,000 of income coming in a month passively. Okay. That's freedom for me. So that when I leave it down to my children, I know I left an inheritance. You know, being able to go on vacation, there's multiple different vacation homes where they're in different places. And I'm not just talking about states, I mean in other countries, you know. When I want to go to Paris for lunch, come back the same day. You
Uh-huh.
know, my bills are on automatic. I don't have to worry about checking if the money is there. I go shopping and I don't have to check the tag. I can go to a restaurant and not look at the right side of the menu when I buy. You know, that's freedom for me where I can go ahead and bless somebody, give $1,000 tip just because their customer service was amazing. And that's what I want. That's what I fight hard for. And I will be retired by 45. I have 4 more years, and well on my way. I'm super excited about it, but that freedom is everything so that I can show my kids you don't have to work for nobody. You don't have to work
Mhm.
for nobody. That's a choice. I want you to make sure it's always a choice.
Right. Now that leads me, I've had conversations with people
Hmm.
that have large sums of money, investments, and things of that nature.
Hmm.
You mentioned $30,000 to $40,000
Hmm.
a month. What would a person say that said, "Oh, you got $30,000 to $40,000 a month? You don't need life insurance. Why you got life insurance? You don't need it on your kids or on yourself, I should say, because you got this coming in. I'm not getting no life insurance. I got all these houses and stuff. I got this rent. They're gonna be left with it if something happened to me. I'm not getting no life insurance."
Hmm. Um, to each his own, for one. But I say life insurance is just an additional way to leave an inheritance. See, the Rockefellers, what a lot of people don't know, the Rockefellers, when they started out, they and there's so many other of them, the Kennedys and things like that, they use life insurance to create generational wealth. That's one of the cheapest ways to do it. You know, if you can spend an extra couple $100 to give more, what I'm teaching those people is when they get the life insurance paid out and they're investing money as well, they can take a portion of that life insurance, reinvest that money, and then get bigger policies. And they keep doing it after generation after generation after generation after generation. And it keeps the money going. So in their investments, the family just live off the interest of the money and not even having to touch the principal, not even have to touch the money is going in. And they're keeping the money going. That's where you're causing, allowing your family to have a generational wealth. You know, it's the cheapest, one of the cheapest ways, you know. So I would educate them on it and I would let it be their choice. Like, you know, it's not a push if you're self-insured. It's always great to have it.
Mhm. And you know what? That's so important because we always talk about blacks and minorities, black and brown folk being behind in the wealth gap.
Hmm.
And so that's what I felt when you just spoke that. Okay, you might have 10, 15, 20,000, 20 houses and whatever you have and this much money coming in, but the gap is still going to be there.
Hmm.
It's still going to be there because we're so far behind on the
Way
gap.
behind, way behind.
Yeah.
And even if you do have these houses, it's great. But the people are like, well, they got these houses. Yeah, but what if the market's down and they
Mm-hmm.
can't sell?
Mm-hmm.
You can't
Mm-hmm.
get this money out. They don't just get it in a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how this works, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you think about it. This is money. Like when it comes on our company, we're actually paying out within that week.
Mm-hmm.
We get the policy today, you die tomorrow, we paying out. As long
Mm-hmm.
as you ain't lying on that application, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like, right, it's right now. This is the right now money while you're building the later money.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
people die. You either gonna die too soon, and that's what the life insurance is for. Or you're gonna live too long, and that's why you got your savings. You
Right.
know, so we cover both of them. But that was a great question because a lot of people don't understand it. They're like, I got all this stuff. Yep,
It's
but it
like
ain't
my
money right now. It's assets that they can eventually use to live off of that. But right now, they need this money right now, bro.
right.
Like right now, what you
Right.
doing? You know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Mhm.
What has your toughest situation been in life throughout life up to this point? What's your toughest situation, and how did you get over that?
Mm. When? Are you asking when, or is it any part
No,
of my
no,
life?
no. At any point, your toughest.
Wow, man, I got a love. I got a lot. I got a lot. I'm thankful for my journey. I'm thankful for the challenges. I'm writing a book. I haven't finished it, of course, because it's a lot. But I'm glad I'm able to write about it because it was tough. Um, so when I was younger, I'm a real, you want to understand, I'm a real truthful person, and we probably have to do a different podcast about this. But I'm writing a book about how I got healed through um, being molested when I was younger. And it was by family members and three different ones. And I didn't know for the past 30 years of my life how bad that had me captured. You know, I didn't know how to love properly. I didn't know how to love myself. Um, there's a difference between sexual desires and really properly being loved and making love. There's a difference, you know, and for the longest time, I couldn't tell the difference. Um, I didn't get over that until I confronted one of my um, molesters. I'll put it that way. I didn't get over that, and I when I and all the time that I didn't get over it, Daryl. I was having nightmares. I was scared. I'm really overprotecting my kids. You can't go nowhere. Like I'm going to people's houses. Like who in here? What guys? Who's up in this house? You know, it was a lot for me. And even at the time when I was married, at the time it was difficult because I didn't understand how to be properly loved. You know, and because I was needing something that he couldn't give me.
Mm.
He couldn't give me that. And so I wasn't getting seen. That's why I'm telling people it's very important to go get some professional help to get this off your chest. And I didn't overcome that until like the age of 30.
Mm.
And I realized that a lot of the dam had broke at that time. So now it gave me the chance to really properly heal. But while I was healing, I was hurting because healing hurts, right? Um, and so I had to get over that, but now I can freely talk about it. And so that book, it deeply, it's more of an audio. A lot of people, I recorded myself, Daryl, just because I write the way I talk. So the words trying to get it out on paper. But I said, you know, I remember God saying, just talk, just say what you wanted to say. And I started recording myself. And when I shared it to some people to say, what is your thoughts on the first part of this? They were like, you need to keep it that way. I think they feel so much more of your emotion hearing your voice when you're talking it and just saying it. So I just got to finish it off and make sure it's going in the direction I want. But it's really just captivating how the Holy Spirit kept me through those years. And I can remember certain instances inside in my life where the Holy Spirit really he was protecting me a lot of the times because I could have been plenty of times that I could have lost my mind throughout that time frame. So that was one of them, and then the second one was my divorce. That was really tough when you got five children involved in that, and you grow up with that person. You know this person since you was 18 years old, and then you get to a point in your life where um, you are now separated and your kids they're impacted by that, and you were also a major reason also that caused that to happen too, so that was really tough as well for me. And I would say it's been many, but those two right there are the main two, and more so of the overcoming the hurt behind the molestation and just realizing it wasn't my fault. It was nothing I could do about it, and being able to forgive, because that was the biggest part.
Mhm. Wow, I'm I'm elated. They had the Oscars. Feel like we need to give out an award for this podcast right now tonight.
Get out of
I
here,
think we
man.
do. Because listen, the title of the show is Willing to Talk About It. And when
Hmm.
I sat on the edge of my bed and said, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. And you've been willing to talk about everything. And I so appreciate that. I always say, you're not over it if you can't talk about it. If I
Absolutely.
ask you a question and you can't talk about it, you're not over it. And I
Hmm.
understand that. And as a writer, let me tell you something. It's always great and fun to talk to writers, even ones that are writing,
Hmm.
because there's a process that you can't get away from.
Hmm.
That's looking within yourself.
Hmm.
You can't get away from that. So when I see a writer publishes something, I kind of got an idea that they've been changed. They've been changed. So
Hmm.
it's not about a number one seller. You are not the same person. And I
Absolutely.
promise, when that pen hit paper or that voice hit the sound waves, you were being transformed and you didn't know it. And I didn't know it when I wrote, and I'm writing again now. And one of the hardest things about writing for me, I talked to another writer today, and he and I were chopping it up, man. It's just a different thing. Is the hardest things about writing is starting, and the second hardest is stopping.
Hmm.
Right? That for me, that's what it was. That's what it was. And so
Mine
I'm
was just
just
fine. It's just piecing it all together, because mine came out of it was like a flood. Like you said, it's like it's coming, and it was like, man, am I putting it in the right order? Is it? And I'm just like, they like, Shauna, just go
mhm,
with it, just go with it. We're
oh yeah,
gonna,
bring it
you
out.
know, but it just comes out, and then I don't know why, I just was like a halt, and I was like, all right, God, I don't know what we stopping for, because you got me going.
Hmm.
Where we going? Like, what we doing with this? But I know that there's a time that it's gonna come where somebody's gonna need to hear that story. It was never written or intended to be a bestseller. It was intended for me to get it out, because
Right.
that was part of the healing process. So whenever God says it's time, let's go, let's rock with it, I know it's gonna bring me in a whole nother direction
Mm.
that a lot of people need to talk about it. Like that stuff is
Yeah, it's
serious. That
real.
motivation, that you
Hmm.
know, accountability. I'm big about accountability too. So
That's
I
what I heard.
feel,
That's what I heard. I
yeah.
heard accountability in talking about your relationship with your not just your ex-husband, but your friend, you know,
Mm-hmm.
your
Yep.
friend. And that's so important because now that friends, we don't that ain't wrong. That ain't got that. I didn't
Yep.
do it. You took it the wrong way. You too
Yep.
sensitive. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but in our closing, Shonda, I know
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned some places you'd like to go, but when you're not being regional VP,
Mm-hmm.
and not doing all the planning and stuff like that, not doing the Zooms, what does Shonda Barnes like to do for fun?
Man, that's a loaded question. Right now, so let me kind of be transparent. Give me a second. I just had to answer somebody real quick. Transparency moment. I recently had a surgery in April of last year where they had to insert a metal plate and three screws in my neck because the my spine was pressing on my nerves,
Mm.
and it was doing this for so long I didn't catch it in time, but it put permanent damage on my nerves on my right side, so I lose mobility when it's really really cold, or I'm standing too long, or I'm sitting in this chair too long. So that's why when you see me moving, I'm
Oh,
like
that knocks
leaning
you
to the
out.
side. I'm just kind of trying to get myself together with it. But I don't go too many places as of right now until my nerves are healing, because it's one, I'm really self-conscious when it comes down to that. Two, I don't want to hold anybody else back. And I don't feel like I don't like to, this is something I work with. I don't like to feel like I have to depend on somebody all the time. But God put me in a season that I had to. and but I read. I love reading.
Wow.
I'm a dancer at heart. I've been dancing my whole life, so not being able to dance the way I want to, it puts a damper on it. But I know that I'm in a season right now that when I get back, I'll be back. But
Hmm.
right now, I do love to read. For people that's maybe surprised to many, but I love inspiring books. I'm reading about 5 or 6 different books right now. Inspiration, business books, stuff by Grant Cardone and Bill Arender. I'm reading a book. It's just I'm reading a lot of different things, but my guilty pleasure is science fiction, like
Uh-huh.
fairies and vampires and werewolves and
Oh,
love,
wow.
all other stuff like that. So I get all captivated by all that stuff, and I just kind of read and I lose myself in that. But I love to travel. Travel, that is my most important. I love traveling. I
Hmm.
love going to the nice Caribbean beaches. I love seeing new things. I like to experience new cultures. Um, I love to travel. That if I can, that's my ultimate goal is that, I can be a professional traveler. I just want to travel and I want to speak to people. I always know that God told me that I would be in front of people, millions of people speaking and inspiring. I'm a builder of person. So I love building people up. So if I can do that and just pour into people, read and travel, well, I'm in there like swimwear.
It's coming. It's coming. I mean, I see it. I feel it. It's definitely coming. It's coming. I got one last question for you, Shonda.
You keep
And
saying you got one
no, I
last question.
do. I do. I do. This is
Okay.
now anybody that has listened to me, they know this is the last question. I ask everybody this question and then I let you close.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask you this question, then I'm gonna let you close. This is my last question. This is
Got
like
you.
is a conclusion, and all that was leading up to this. What would your older self, you now, what would you tell your younger self?
And that is a question I've been asked a couple of times, honestly. Um, I would say not to be so hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. The mistakes you're gonna make, they're gonna make you better. And it's okay. Fail forward. It's okay. But live life without worrying about what to expect from someone else and realize that you can't change anybody. Change is from within. You want to see a change yourself, change the way you think. Because when you change, your perspective change. And what you want out of people will change. You can't change anybody. And that's really it. I give yourself grace. We're way too hard on ourselves sometimes, way too hard on ourselves. Give yourself grace.
Now, Shonda, how do we get in touch with you? How would anybody want to get in touch with you for a group presentation or just to talk to you one on one? You mentioned the audit of the existing insurance. How would they get in touch with you?
For one, you can call me. My phone number is 757-770-6414. You can also email me at sbarnesfinancialfreedom@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook under Shonda Barnes. You can just find me there. I think it's at Shonda Barnes. I think. Don't get me wrong. On there. And then Instagram. My Instagram is the Hope Dealer,
Okay.
and that's what we do. We provide hope.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
You
That's
did
it.
it.
Thank you, man. We
Shonda
did it.
Barnes.
We
I had to
did
get
it.
I had to get you out of here because I was ready to go into the you kept dropping stuff and it's like, man, I can't pick that up because we'd be here another 30 minutes and stuff.
Yeah, we would. We
I
would.
couldn't pick that up because
We could do a lot of follow-ups on a lot of different things that was going
yeah, because when you went to why black kids, why they do what they do in our community, they know we're not covered. I mean, that's just right where it needs to be.
on. Yeah, man. That's
The
that's a
grieving,
tough one. That's a tough one.
economic grieving, um, this is just loaded up, man. People always ask me, they say, Daryl, how long are your podcasts? I said, listen, I'm not here for that. if you got 20 minutes worth of stuff to say, then you're probably not the one I need to talk to, because I need to know who you are. Why are you doing what you're doing? What led up to this? The willing to talk about it is the name of the show. You know, you're willing to even talk about your upbringing, where you were, you know, admit some stuff. You know, we're in the phase of truth. And more importantly, you got kids, I got kids, they see right through that crap. Just like
Oh,
I'm seeing and you're seeing, but we say things respectfully, but we understand
right.
about our parents and grandparents and things of that nature when the times were different. But I'm not gonna hold you, Shonda. I really, really appreciate you, man. You
Not a
really
problem.
poured your heart out here.
Not a
I'm
problem.
just so thankful. I'm just so
You're
thankful.
welcome. You're
And you
welcome.
gonna reach those goals, 30, 40 trips around the world,
Mhm.
and continue to write your book. We're gonna be in touch just on a personal level, just how you doing with that. And definitely when you release it, come back and we could touch some of the other parts that we didn't get to today, the will and stuff like that. But I
Right.
really appreciate you.
Absolutely. I got you. I got you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out, allowing me to get that out.
Yeah.
I hope it helps so many of you guys that's listening.
Yep.
I
Yep.
hope
They
I get
was.
some
They was.
phone calls,
Yeah, they're gonna
emails.
get some calls. I'm gonna tell you when it's released, I'll let you know, you
Okay.
know, and stuff like that. I'll let you know and send you all the material and stuff like that.
That works. That works. I appreciate it, Daryl. Thank you so
All
much.
right. All right. Have a great evening. All
You
right.
too.